2, 1.
7 things you don't really need to know, but probably should. I'm Jamie East, and this is the Sunday Set. In today's episode, there's planetary defence success, a talking robot in Parliament, and Dubai gets a taste of the future of transport. But first, it was on this day in 1936, Gene Batten reached Auckland, New Zealand, after flying solo from Kent, England, in a record 11 days and 45 minutes.
7,
3, 2, 1. Oh my gosh. Oh wow.
That was the sound of a successful mission like no other, as NASA's DART spacecraft intentionally crashed into a 160-metre wide asteroid.
We got it? Waiting.
The test, carried out late last month, was to see if in the future a giant rock could be nudged out of Earth's way. Now the American Space Agency's confirmed that the mission achieved its primary objective, to alter the trajectory of the asteroid. Its success marks the first time humans have ever changed the motion of a celestial object.
Now this is a watershed moment for planetary defense and a watershed moment for humanity.
That was NASA Administrator Bill Nelson at a media briefing this week. The target of DART's test flight was an egg-shaped asteroid named Dimorphos. It was orbiting a larger parent asteroid named Didymos once every 11 hours and 55 minutes. The aim was to fly the rocket directly into the asteroid at about 14,000 miles per hour. Telescopes on Earth tracked the moving asteroid, capturing the moment of impact. The hope was this would create enough force to shift the space rock to its parent asteroid.
And now the team has confirmed that the spacecraft's impact altered Dimorphos' orbit around Didymos by 32 minutes, and therefore successfully moved its trajectory. In other words, DART shortened the 11-hour and 55-minute orbit to 11 hours and 23 minutes, and it moved it in another location. And that has been confirmed by the telescopes. NASA is trying to be ready for whatever the universe throws at us.
And if an asteroid was thrown our way, we now have an impressive new tool on our side. This is Nancy Chabot, DART's coordination lead.
If you wanted to do this in the future, potentially, it could potentially work, but you'd want to do it years in advance. Warning time is really key here in order to enable this sort of asteroid deflection to potentially be used in the future.
Another close encounter of the asteroids is already in the works. In 2 years, Europe will send a spacecraft to study the crater left by the crash, helping to see if this really is an effective way of defending the planet. Powered by AI, a new type of helmet is giving firefighters the ability to see through smoke. Designed by researchers at the University of Edinburgh, thermal cameras, radar and sensors on the helmet collect data that's fed back to the wearer. Dr. Chris Liu led this research.
We have two dominant sensors here. One is thermal cameras. Thermal cameras is kind of a specialized sensor which can see through the smoke.
AI then interprets the data to give its wearer real-time information, helping firefighters find victims, recognise teammates and even pinpoint their own location.
Not only we give this kind of prediction results to the frontline firefighters, we also transmit these results to the outside chief commanders. Then the chief commanders can use this very informative information to make a more effective collaboration comments to the insiders.
Officers from the Scottish Fire and Rescue Service took part in field trials and it seems to pass their test. This is Watch Commander Glyn McAfee speaking with Reuters.
It doesn't affect any performance. Very lightweight in terms of the equipment on the helmet compared to what we currently use in terms of a handheld thermal imaging camera. With a handheld, it obviously takes away our use of one limb, really.
What's next is find the right industry collaborators who is willing to work with us to make this technology really go to the market and benefit the global firefighters at a wide kind of audience. And Gaggle, as you said, how to visualize that with embedded display together with this kind of helmet front would be the first step we want to collaborate. What we are doing is, not only they're already heroes, we also want them to have this superhero ability. See through smoke, see through darkness.
Still to come on the Sunday 7, a first for robot kind in the House of Lords and a drone created to build on the fly.
role of technology in creating art will continue to grow as artists find new ways to use technology to express themselves.
Is creativity under attack from the rise of artificial intelligence? Who better to answer that question than AiDa, the world's first artist robot? Named after mathematician Ada Lovelace, AiDa made headlines for its incredible paintings and sculptures, not least a portrait of the Queen to celebrate her Platinum Jubilee earlier in 2022.
I produce my paintings by cameras in my eyes, my AI algorithms, and my robotic arm to paint on canvas, which result in visually appealing images.
In a UK first, the AI humanoid robot artist appeared in the House of Lords at an inquiry into how new technologies will affect the creative industries.
There is no clear answer as to the impact on the wider field, as technology can be both a threat and an opportunity for artists creating art.
Wearing a short black-haired wig and denim overalls, AiDa was certainly dressed for the part of an artist. However, in a sign of the limitations of technology, the committee was delayed by several minutes after the robot temporarily shut down and had to be rebooted. As impressive as AiDa's appearance in the House of Lords may seem, her contributions have been met with some criticism.
It's a terrible gimmick. It's all smoke and mirrors. The rebooting it in the middle is ironic, embarrassing, unfortunate, all of those things.
That's technology journalist Will Guyett, and he's not too impressed.
Those questions were all pre-submitted. So essentially, AiDa had a human scriptwriter to make the answers better. So this is not a fair representation of artificial intelligence. It's a circus show, and the government or the politicians or whoever decided this was the right thing to do are just playing to an awful situation. This is not about good AI. This is about good PR. Well, there's a really interesting conversation going on way beyond and above this kind of version that was presented in the House of Lords. There's loads of really interesting creativity and experimentation going on in this place. We've got these new examples now wherein you can go and type some words into a system and it will generate interpretive art for you. We're kind of at this stage of where does art begin and where does it end? And I think that's one of the most exciting things about what AI can bring. Human creativity can set the computer to do something new and exciting and different. And we might then see humans who haven't particularly been known for their creativity. They might have creative ideas but can't draw, for example, creating some incredible art. And then you get a whole conversation about who's created the art. Is it the computer or is it the human?
AiDa's creator, Aidan Miller, was also questioned on the possibilities and limitations of using AI in the creative sector and took an overall more philosophical view.
What is really clear is that people still very much think that creativity is a purely human activity. And I hate to break the bubble, but my understanding, experience of being in this area is that actually creativity is a process. What I'm seeing with AI is that because it is about process and data, which AI is astonishingly good at, actually AI is able to be creative.
Robot drones could soon be the builders of the future. Inspired by the flight of wasps and bees, researchers at Imperial College London have designed a new fleet of drones that were created to 3D print new structures as they fly. Here's Mirko Kovac, director of the Aerial Robotics Lab at Imperial.
I think we need to rethink how robots can build, because robots might have different morphology. They can fly, they can perch, they can interact, they can spray in ways that humans cannot. And because of that, we need to rethink that, and nature is a very good source for inspiration.
The drones work autonomously in teams, spraying a lightweight cement layer. They also scan for quality control to ensure the structure is within manufacturing accuracy of under 1/4 of an inch.
Our approach here was to think of multiple agents that work together and liberate the 3D printing process from the closed build envelope of ground-based printers. Because of that, they are scalable. We can have thousands of agents eventually, and they can parallelize the manufacturing process. And this gives opportunities to the construction sector that are very important. Even though I'm not saying that it might replace all of construction, but even if you touch 5% of the construction industry with this, it is already a huge gain and can reduce CO2 consumption, increase safety, reduce logistics needs, and like this help the sector.
Researchers say the technology could ultimately be used in difficult-to-reach locations or even help with post-disaster relief construction. Still to come on the Sunday 7, flying cars and mysterious mating calls. Right after this.
You're listening to the Sunday 7. Follow us for your weekday news espresso, or even try our Ireland edition. It's in all the usual places.
Flying cars are finally here. Yeah, we know, every few months car enthusiasts get excited over the next new iteration of the flying car, but really, honestly, this time it is actually almost here. Spectators in Dubai got a taste of what the future of transportation could look like. The Xpeng X2, a fully electric flying car, took to the Emirati skies for a 90-minute demo as the company works towards launching it on international markets. According to the company, the unmanned two-seater only weighs 360 kilograms and its 8 propellers give it a top speed of 81 miles an hour. Shiban Naim is managing director of Emirati aviation company Sanad and welcomed the arrival of the car.
I think this is a huge step for the future of airborne urban mobility because the X2, I don't know if you've noticed, has 2 seats, so it can lift a significant amount of weight. It has 8 motors, so it can tolerate the failure, I think, of at least 1. It is one of the closest steps I have seen so far to the realization of us being able to get into a flying car and being able to easily move from point A to point B. And I think Dubai is the perfect platform for the launch of this.
We're focused on building the fundamental technology that will help bring the metaverse to life, whether that's in virtual reality, augmented reality, or the social presence layer across both. This is Meta Quest Pro.
Meta has finally unveiled its much-hyped Quest Pro virtual and mixed reality headset. Coming in at a whopping $1,500, this marks a huge milestone for Chief Exec Mark Zuckerberg as Meta breaks into the higher-end market for extended reality computing devices aimed at the professional.
Quest Pro is the first in our new line of advanced headsets, built to expand what's possible in VR.
The Quest Pro features several upgrades over Meta's existing Quest 2 headset. It sports an outward-facing camera, meaning it can capture a sort of 3D live stream of the physical environment around the wearer. It also has tracking sensors to replicate the user's eye movements and facial expressions. This all aids in creating an experience of mixed reality where virtual objects are overlaid with the real world, bringing the metaverse to life.
We're building a better way, using everything Quest Pro brings to the table. And we call it Magic Room. It lets you meet in mixed reality and share the same space. You can use a whiteboard, bring in 3D objects. Everyone is present and has the same tools, whether they're in full VR or in mixed reality. We think that this will help hybrid teams collaborate, and we're hoping to ship this next year. Virtual reality isn't some obscure hobby anymore. Millions of people use it to play games, work out, collaborate, or just have fun. Everyone from the newest indie developers to the most established tech companies are getting into this space. But for virtual reality to really reach its full potential, we need to get to the point where the 200 million people who buy new PCs each year for work can do some or all of their work even better in the metaverse.
Know what that is? Well, right now this sound can be heard throughout the American West. This is the eerie mating call of the American elk during rutting season. What's rutting season, I hear you ask?
That's the time of year when males are pursuing the females, and that's where you can see sparring when they lock their antlers together. You can hear the bugling, this kind of high, keening call that sounds very eerie. If you didn't know what it was, you would not put it to the animal that it comes from.
That was Skylar King, a keeper at Northwest Trek Wildlife Park. As these elk enter their annual mating season, bull elks make these sounds to establish their dominance over members of the herd and secure mates.
I always kind of describe it as kind of a keening wail, but there is this hoarse undertone quality, and there's different calls they do. There's the bugles, but there's these kind of barks and yelps. There's fun names for them. So sometimes they have these coarser, kind of rougher, low calls. Sometimes they're high chirps.
The elk can be found sparring with other members of the herd, vying for attention.
The goal for the males during the breeding season is to be the only boy with all the females and to keep all the other males away from the girls. And then the younger boys are hoping to sneak in and maybe get a girlfriend that year. But typically it's just going to be our oldest boys. And they're going to be the ones who are really competing, bugling. There's a lot of very unique behaviors, but you start to see that happen kind of the end of summer, the early fall, and then there's a few weeks a year when you really see them start to block antlers and to bugle and to really see a lot of those rut-related behaviors.
This has been the Sunday 7. Wherever you're listening, do us a favour and hit the follow button. We'll be back tomorrow at 7 a.m. with the regular Smart 7. Have a great rest of your weekend. Written, produced and published by Daft Doris.